second, we heard about the extraordinary efforts of the Mass Office of Business Development, and I'll tell you that Marty Walsh and John Mahoney and Patrick Honey and others deserve an awful lot of credit. They have done an extraordinarily good job, and that comes under the leadership of our extraordinarily capable Secretary of Economic Affairs, Dan O'Connell. So congratulations. And to the local officials, I'll tell you that, Tip O'Neill said all politics is local, and it is. One of the things that I've heard, and it's now campaign season. I think it's you that's using it in a slogan. It was you in the past, but it's true. I've said, even April, my favorite Republican, used this, where I said that Canton is among the best governed towns in the state, and it is. And I'll tell you that the Secretary will confirm when they've done a survey of business leaders and where they'd like to expand or where they're at least treated fairly. Canton is always high on the list of business executives, places to do business in Massachusetts. The expedited permitting set up by Bill Friel and others is just an example of that. And again, we see, as Bob mentioned, with Reebok and Dunkin' Brands and One Beacon and now Organogenesis, having their world headquarters. Actually, my law office, our world headquarters. I'll be looking for a TIF. The proof is in the pudding in that extraordinary commercial tax base. Other communities I represent, it's 96% residential. Here in Canton, you have a 35% commercial tax base. Allows you to keep the property tax burden down, which is one of the things the governor's trying to do, and still deliver the excellent quality local services, the schools, the police, and to the selectmen, I say congratulations. But now to the folks from Organogenesis, I wasn't kidding about that artificial hair. Jeff is such a good guy. We go to the gym together sometimes, he more often than I, and I've been calling him Jeff McKay all this time. I just today discovered this. My Canadian friend's name is Jeff Mackay. So whatever your name is, we're delighted to have you. We're delighted to have you in town with these jobs. This is a wonderful economic initiative. Starts with the governor. It ends here locally, and we're very excited about these jobs. Thank you.
Until now, I've accepted McKay, but this is the changing point. I'd like to introduce Representative Corey Atkins.
Hi, I'm Representative Corey Atkins, and I co-chair with my colleague Jim Tumulty from the Senate, the Science and Tech Caucus, which is an extraordinary group, an ad hoc group of members of industry and private and public higher ed. And we have come together over the years to identify what we need to do to keep companies just like this in Massachusetts. And it was so exciting 3 or 4 years ago to hear this voice in the wilderness. And he understood everything we were saying. And he was running for governor. And I went, oh my God. And I introduced him to people and I said, this man is so smart. He thinks just like I do. And here we are today, living proof, to have a vehicle as bold and as wonderful as the Life Science Bill, which is just what we need, to keep these jobs here, and just to change the total point of view for a minute. I'm a mother of 20 and 30 years old. I want my children to stay here. I did not go through those years of driving them everywhere, editing homework at 1 o'clock in the morning, for them to move to North Carolina. Thank you very much. So that, and also seeing all of the young scientists that we see when we go around with the Secretary and the Governor to other biotech industries, they want to stay here. They're just graduating from MIT and our colleges. They want to stay here and make life here. And people like Jeff and Organogenesis are doing that. They're offering them employment, and we're doing our best on every other level to see that they have affordable housing and all the other opportunities they need. My colleague Jim and I are going to be working really hard to make sure that you have the trained workforce that you're going to need. in working on the science, tech, engineering, and math curriculum so that we can graduate more kids with these skills. So today is a wonderful day, and I just want to congratulate everyone for being here. Thank you.
I think we'll open it up to questions.
I have a question. My name is Dan Feinkoff. I'm with the Canton Journal. I just had a question. What types of tax breaks were offered to Organogenesis in terms of a motivation for them to stay here?
I guess I'll take it offline because I'm really not a tax specialist, and I worry that I'll muddle it. We have our VP of Finance here, so I can talk to you offline.
Okay, sounds good.
Let me just add to it. First of all, nothing extraordinary. So that it's not, he's going to take it offline so he doesn't make a mistake. But nothing out of the ordinary. There were, and I will say, I think it's fair to say, Jeff, that the tax breaks were not the deciding factor. They were a part of the puzzle. The concentration of brain power, venture capital, the supercluster that we have around life sciences is a big advantage for us. And was a big part, I think, of the analysis for Organogenesis, and then I think our willingness to partner with the company and with the town to help make some of the practical parts come together in terms of land and space and what have you were the other parts of it. And then there's some direct state investment or funding that we made available as well.
Thank you.
I would say there's a lot of things that we do in government that are difficult to quantify, social services and the like. There are some things like this which are directly quantifiable, and we are convinced that this, because we as your elected officials have a fiduciary responsibility to the taxpayers, and we are convinced, as are the local officials, that a relatively modest investment will reap significant returns to the taxpayers. And we have analyzed this bill and scrutinized it pretty darn closely. And we are convinced that the net benefit to the taxpayers, both locally and indeed across the Commonwealth, is significant, positive.
Well, if they went somewhere else, then they'd be paying no taxes here, right? So.
Exactly.
Well, I think on that point, what the governor said is absolutely true, is that what the Life Science Initiative did is got us a ticket onto the playing field in order to make a case to our board of directors that despite the fact that it might be a little bit more expensive to operate here, what carries the day is the talent, the productivity, the access to hospitals and academia. So what absolutely didn't carry the day is the finances. What we had to do was just narrow the gap a little bit.
Jeff Mascheroni with the Canton Journal as well. This is kind of might be a little bit of a local question, but I'm wondering.
Hang on one second. Are you all right?
Oh,
You're right in front of this camera.
I'm wondering what role the Economic Development Committee played at Keith here.
A huge role. It is, we've come to know Gene Manning very, very, very well. And not just myself, but our Chris O'Reilly,